What if I told you that one of the most ignored rules in the world could change everything? A rule so simple, so unassuming that we break it daily without a second thought. A rule that, if obeyed, has the power to save lives, reduce stress, and even reshape our culture. This is the story of speed. There are laws we all recognize. Laws against theft, laws against violence, laws that shape the very foundation of civilization. But then there are laws we choose to ignore. The speed limit. It's not a suggestion, not a baseline, but a hard boundary, a maximum, not a minimum. And yet, who actually follows it? For years, I didn't. Like most people, I saw speed limits as loose guidelines, something to be stretched, nudged, or outright ignored. If the sign said 45, I instinctively added 5, 10, or even 15 miles per hour. It was a second nature, a reflex, mental math I was doing constantly. And I wasn't alone. This selective obedience or disobedience is fascinating when you really think about it. Most of us would never consider shoplifting, even if we knew we wouldn't get caught. We'd never run a red light in plain view of a police officer. Yet, somehow, speeding has earned a unique exemption in our moral code. We've collectively agreed that this particular law exists in a gray area. Even the enforcers of the law, the police, can be found speeding 5 to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit themselves. The numbers are staggering. Studies show that on most highways, over 70% of drivers exceed the speed limit. Not by a little, but by an average of 9 miles per hour. We've normalized lawbreaking on a massive scale, and we rarely stop to question why. Even more telling is how we react to those who don't participate in breaking the law. The driver going the speed limit isn't seen as law-abiding, they're seen as an obstacle, a problem to be navigated around, a frustration in our path. Speeding is the new norm. It's expected. If you drive the speed limit exactly, you're not just unusual, you're the problem. But why? Why do we treat speed limits as negotiable? And what does this say about how we live the rest of our lives? The answer is simple. We are a culture addicted to speed. From fast food to high-speed internet, we crave efficiency. We glorify busyness. We see patience as weakness, and so we rush. This addiction runs deeper than we realize. Think about the language we use in everyday life. We don't just enjoy a meal, we grab a quick bite. We don't read, we skim. We don't walk, we run errands. Look at our technology. Every innovation promises to save us time. Faster processors, faster downloads, faster Amazon deliveries. And yet, paradoxically, we feel more time-starved than ever before. Each minute saved becomes filled with 2 more tasks. The promised leisure never materializes. And often, it starts with something as small as running late. Have you ever been late for work, for school, for an appointment, for church, and you thought to yourself, I can make this up if I just drive a little bit faster? A lot of times we use speed as a crutch, compensating for poor planning, for poor organization, for the habit of always running behind. And once you start, it becomes a cycle. It becomes a habit. So you don't actually plan better in the future. You don't wake up earlier. You don't structure your time more efficiently. You just drive faster. You rely on speeding as a way to stay on schedule instead of creating a life that actually runs on schedule. This would require a lot of personal accountability. The psychology here is fascinating because speeding creates an illusion of control. When we're late or overwhelmed, Pressing the gas pedal gives us a sense of agency, of doing something to fix the problem. Sure, it might have been a problem that we created, but a solution nonetheless. It's a quick fix in a world that rewards quick fixes. Why do you think duct tape is such a popular solution to so many household problems? But the math rarely works in our favor. Studies show that in urban environments, speeding 10 miles over the speed limit typically saves just 2 to 3 minutes on a 30-minute commute. So, think about that. We're risking lives, our own and other innocent people, for mere moments of saved time. And there's another cost that we rarely calculate: the toll on our nervous systems. Speeding triggers our fight or flight response. Our bodies release stress hormones. Our heart rate increases. Our breathing shallows. We arrive at our destination physiologically primed for conflict, not connection or efficiency, and we are certainly not at peace. No matter how fast we go, there's always more to do. Another deadline and another red light just ahead. I realized this when I read the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It challenged me to slow down, not just in life, but literally on the road. So I made a decision. A small one, and seemingly a ridiculous one. I would drive the speed limit. Exactly the speed limit. It started as an experiment, but it quickly became something else. When you drive the speed limit, something strange happens. You become an anchor, a single force holding back the current of impatience, a single person forcing everyone behind you to obey a law they've chosen to ignore. And so what happened? You can probably guess. The drivers behind me rode my bumper. They swerved in frustration, but something else happened too. Some drivers stayed behind me. Some adjusted. Some, even if they hated it, slowed down. But some people lost their minds. I watched as drivers, infuriated by my refusal to go faster and break the law, they risked their own lives and mine by crossing a double yellow line into oncoming traffic just to pass me. They would rather gamble everything, potentially crashing, potentially killing themselves, me, or a stranger, than slow down for a few extra seconds. Why? Because we've convinced ourselves that waiting, that patience, that limits are unbearable. This reveals something profound about our relationship with time and control. Many of us experience what psychologists call time anxiety, a persistent fear that we're wasting time, that we're falling behind, that others are getting ahead. This anxiety makes even small delays feel existentially threatening. What's most striking is the disproportion. Even just 5 minutes of delay can trigger levels of stress that far exceed the actual impact of being just 5 minutes late. We've lost perspective. We've forgotten how to wait. We have wired our bodies and our brains to react in a very harmful way to something as innocent as following the law and driving the speed limit. And that's when it hit me. One person can change the flow of traffic. One person can set a new standard. One person can resist the unspoken pressure to conform. This is more than just a traffic observation. It's a principle with far-reaching implications. Sociologists call it the broken window theory, an idea that visible signs of disorder encourage further disorder. When everyone speeds, speeding becomes normal, but the reverse is also true. Order can spread just as contagiously as chaos. In my little experiment, I discovered that by simply following the rules, I was creating a small zone of order around me, a bubble of sanity in the midst of collective madness. And if that's true on the road, what about in life? What if we applied this principle to other areas where we've normalized excess, our spending habits, our work hours, our technology use, our environmental impact? What if in each of these areas, some of us chose to live at the speed limit, to honor the boundaries that wisdom, law, and order have established? Every movement, every change begins with one person refusing to go along with the flow and to do what is right. True power isn't found in rushing from place to place, but in being fully present wherever you are. Yes, you will face resistance. People will push you to conform, to break the rules, to ignore the boundaries meant for your good. But the question is not whether others will follow the limit. The question is, will you? The speed limit, the Sabbath, the laws of nature, the laws of morality. These aren't arbitrary restrictions designed to frustrate us. Sometimes they aren't even commanded. They're guardrails, protecting us from harm. Their wisdom embedded in structure. Their invitations to a different way of being, one that values sustainability over immediacy, depth over breadth, quality over quantity. The moment we see boundaries as optional, we begin a slow drift into chaos. But the moment we honor them, we take control of the road, of our lives, and of the world around us. Imagine a world where we all drove the speed limit. Traffic would flow more smoothly, accidents would decrease dramatically, fuel efficiency would improve, and our commutes would become opportunities for reflection rather than sources of stress. Now extend that vision beyond the highway. Imagine a society that honored all of its proper limits, where we worked within sustainable hours, where we consumed at reasonable levels, where we rested as we were designed to rest. The benefits would exceed far beyond our individual lives. They would transform our communities, our culture, and even our entire planet. It begins with a choice, a small one, a countercultural one, a personal choice. Change yourself first, and through your own transformation, you change the world. So, the next time you see that sign, what will you do? Will you be the one to set the pace?